Hello and welcome to DY's Xmas Flash 2023 banner review. Today, I'll be going over the new characters as always and the banner as a whole. No time to dilly-dally, I want to go back to playing Granblue versus, which has a free mode, by the way, if you guys didn't know. Not an ad, by the way. But anyways, let's get right into it. First up, let's talk about Shalem. Shalem is a charge attack character who is able to provide decent utility as well as some tanking capabilities. So, to break down her game plan, Shalem starts the battle with 2 ancient seals. Once these seals are removed, she gains permanent CA reactivation, and her S1 and S2 will proc twice every time you use them. So, to gain these very powerful effects, you have to remove both of those seals, which can only be done through charge attacking. Now, normally this might take roughly 5 or so turns to fulfill. However, Shalem will gain instant charge bar anytime she doesn't attack. This effect can be activated through her third skill, Langolin Field, which prevents her from normal attacking, similar to how Earth Satyr functions, and you can also simply guard her if you are in a V2 raid. Now, due to the 2-turn duration of Langolin Field, Shalem won't be able to remove both ancient seals in that time. On turn 1, she has the buff, so it won't attack. On turn 2, she gains the instant CA standby, so she'll charge attack, and on turn 3, she'll just normal attack again. So, if you want her to remove the seals as quickly as possible, it'll be most beneficial to run her with some other charge bar generators like Satyr or Kengo. As a whole, Shalem's kit seems to be for longer full auto setups, but more significantly, for harder manual raids. At the moment, the most notable example is Hexachromatic Hierarch, but do remember that we have another raid of the same tier coming in January also. In these long V2 raids, Shalem will be able to preserve her third skill for Dangerous Omens, and will just be able to guard instead to remove her seals. The third skill, being a pseudo substitute for single target attacks, is also very strong. Shalem will basically take no damage for the duration with the 99% reflection, which essentially works similarly to damage cut if you are unfamiliar with that sort of buff. On top of her third skill, her S1 and S2 also seem very good in the context of high difficulty raids. Local unremovable debuffs from S1 and a high damaging nuke that also dispels on her S2. By the way, this skill 2 is also autocast during Langolin Field. The high damage from skill 2 is quite significant for Hexachromatic Hierarch, since she can easily deal multiple hits of 2 million plus damage for that raid's signature omens. So, in conclusion, Shalem is looking to be very good for full autos and high difficulty V2 raids, and will likely find a place in many of those teams, assuming that they are charge attack oriented. Okay, next up, Noa. Noa is a charge attack character who is able to provide decent utility as well as some tanking capabilities. Wait a second, this sounds really familiar. But anyways, where Noa differs from Shalem is that his focus is more on defensive buffs. But his general game plan and usage will be exactly the same as Shalem: longer difficult full autos and high difficulty raids. So first up, let's talk about his second skill. Once again, this skill is looking a little bit familiar, but just like Kaguya, Noa gains various benefits once he uses the skill a second time. Now, this skill has a really long cooldown of 12 turns once it's upgraded. However, its cooldown is cut by 1 turn every time Noa charge attacks. Now, on paper, I do expect Noa to take a little longer than Kaguya to get his upgraded S2 online, due to the lack of CA reactivation prior to the buff, but his second passive may help with that also. This passive here functions similarly to Granblue in that it provides a different effect depending on Noa's condition. This effect will occur every 3 turns, and if multiple conditions apply, the highest listed skill here takes priority. So, other than the effects of S2 itself, what else does Noa receive once he casts the upgraded version? His S3, which normally only affects himself, will now apply to all allies. This skill is incredibly strong. Firstly, the 100% charge bar and CA specs to all allies is greatly appreciated, and it can be really important for generating Faded Chain meter in those V2 raids. But more importantly, it provides one turn unchallenged, similar to Grand Zoe and Grand Charlotta. This is essentially a buff that will protect the entire team from anything except plane damage or any sort of raid wipe omen. Something really important to note also is that unchallenged still works even if the enemy has God Sight. So unlike Dodge All, it can protect the team from really scary omens from those high difficulty raids which tend to possess this buff. Noa will also gain 30% charge bar gain and CA reactivation once his upgraded S2 is online through his first passive. This effect is obviously very powerful for a character like Noa, and is also incredibly useful in dispelling the enemy and reducing his long cooldowns, as his charge attack provides both of those effects. Overall, Noa's kit seems to be for longer full auto setups, but more significantly for harder manual raids. But all jokes aside, Noa's use cases seem very similar to Shalem. Long charge attack based full autos and high difficulty raids like Hexachromatic Hierarch, and perhaps, and likely, the upcoming January hard raid as well. Moving on to the grand raid ups, we have Sturm and Shiva. Sturm herself is unfortunately not really used these days. I'm sorry, Sturm. But yeah, her kit is horrendously outdated, and hopefully she gets an FLB in the future. But her weapon Ixaba is still used in Agni grids. In the past, and even now sometimes, up to 3 copies could be seen in grids. However, I do personally feel that if a new fire weapon comes out, like Kaguya Dagger, those extra Ixaba copies might be the first to go. I still think that one uncapped copy will be necessary for the raw attack option. However, anything more than that I feel is likely to get power crept. In other words, if you already have Ixaba, I think pulling on this banner for Ixaba is not the best choice. But this is pure speculation, so please take it with a grain of salt. And moving on to Shiva and Purifying Thunderbolt. Shiva with his FLB has been used for some niche full auto setups for Guild War, but more significantly, he may be used for low button, high investment NM95 setups due to his upgraded second passive. Outside of this, Shiva tends to not see too much use, and the same can be said for his weapon. Although it did get the highly desirable attack awakening, compared with Benedia, it seems to be the worst option in most cases. It can be used for some charge attack teams, but in those cases, something like Wilna's Axe will just perform a lot better. So, with all the info out of the way, should you spark? In my opinion, I'm leaning towards no. This banner is mainly good for 2 types of people. Number 1, if you really like Shalem or Noa, and second, if you care about picking up characters who will see the most benefit in high difficulty raids, such as Hexachromatic Hierarch, and perhaps the January high difficulty raid. Outside of those raids, I believe that these 2 characters can easily be replaced by other units who provide a similar effect, and it won't be too much of a big deal to do so as well. Since this banner has basically no discount on it as well, we do have the daily singles, but yeah, you know. But with Roulette coming up, December 28th Flash, and New Year's, I think holding your crystals for those banners is the correct way to go for most people. Alright, and that's it for this year's Christmas characters. We actually had 3 charge attack characters this year geared towards HL raids, which is just something interesting to note, I guess. Did this year's Xmas characters live up to your guys' expectations? Let me know in the comments below. With Magfest starting, I hope you guys are able to farm whichever raids you need the most. I've sort of been stuck farming Ultimate Bahamut Normal for meteorites since I keep running out of them. By the way, next weekend on Saturday 23rd and Sunday 24th, I'll be watching the GBF Fez stream live on Twitch. So if you want to follow along with me, please come hang out. I think a schedule for the event has already been posted, so check that out on the official website or on Granblue Ian's Twitter for that. Okay, anyways, that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the content, Good luck if you're pulling, stay strong if you're saving, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.